The ground trembles as the grizzly bear begins its powerful advance. Each step presses down with the weight of a dominant predator of the wilderness. As it accelerates, the prey loses its rhythm in an instant. But in the wild, not every rival gives way so easily. So who can truly stand firm against the remarkable strength of the grizzly bear? The grizzly bear stands as a symbol of strength in the North American wilderness. It lives among deep forests, cold rivers, and harsh, snow-covered mountains. That strength comes not only from muscle, but also from highly refined senses. It reads the environment, remembers space, and responds with precision. In the wild, the grizzly bear shows that true power always depends on distance and boundaries. Under the bright sun of the Taiga forest, the grizzly bear appears as a massive force, yet far from slow. With a weight of around 800 pounds, it can still burst to speeds of about 35 miles per hour over short distances, enough to create intense pressure on herds of hoofed animals moving through the open woodland. Deer are highly alert prey, with keen senses of smell and hearing that detect even subtle changes in their surroundings. Because of this, the grizzly bear never moves directly into detection range. It quietly travels against the wind to conceal its scent, slipping through low brush and steadily closing the distance with the patience of an experienced ambush hunter. When the decisive moment arrives, a sudden surge breaks the stillness. The grizzly bear does not chase chaos. It uses awareness to single out an individual that falls out of rhythm. With claws reaching about 4 inches in length and powerful muscles built around its massive shoulders, it does not rely on a prolonged pursuit. A single misstep by the prey on uneven ground is enough for the balance to shift. The hunt concludes quickly, providing the energy needed for the demanding season ahead. In the deep wilderness, strength is only the beginning. Mastering timing is the most formidable instinct of all. In North America, encounters between the grizzly bear and wolves highlight the contrast between solitary strength and pack strategy. When a wolf pack has just completed an energy-demanding hunt, the grizzly arrives with its massive frame and the power to move heavy obstacles. It steps into the area, turning the pack's effort into a vital source of energy for its own survival. Faced with this challenge, the wolves respond with harassment tactics, moving in from multiple directions to test the patience of the larger animal. The grizzly, however, often holds a central position, using its size and presence to assert control. In the harsh cold, every calorie matters, and the bear rarely yields. In many cases, its persistence leads the wolves to withdraw. With a puma, the tension takes on a different tone. This large cat is naturally elusive and tends to avoid direct encounters. Yet, when young are nearby, it may remain in place to protect them. It gives warning signals, moves with agility, and maintains a careful distance, causing the grizzly to slow its approach. The moment reflects a quiet but intense balance between a strong protective instinct and the presence of a dominant predator. The moose is one of the largest and most majestic hoofed animals of the northern forests. An adult male can weigh more than 1,000 pounds, carrying antlers that spread like a crown across wetlands, cold rivers, and conifer forests. Though it often lives alone, this animal has long legs, great endurance, and a powerful response when pushed into a difficult position. Yet the balance of the deep wilderness is always challenged by the grizzly bear, a true strategist of the wild. This predator does not rely only on raw strength, but also knows how to turn nature into an ally. The grizzly patiently reads the terrain, quietly pressuring its target toward muddy areas or deeper water, where the moose loses its advantage in speed and stability on long legs. When the right moment arrives, the gray-furred giant surges forward, breaking through the water's surface with explosive force. With a jaw capable of producing more than 1,000 pounds per square inch, it can gain control of the target. This is not only a clash between two massive bodies, but a test of momentum, turning cold water into a dangerous trap for any individual that falls out of rhythm. In the north, survival does not belong to the largest, but to the one that turns nature into its ally. In the wild, peace is a rare luxury maintained by strict rules of rank. The grizzly bear, the uncrowned king of the North American forest, spends its life defending the valleys it claims as its own. When two adults unexpectedly meet on the same trail, the deep wilderness leaves little room for compromise. Here, courage and will determine who truly controls the land. An encounter within the same species does not begin with action, but with psychological pressure from deep, low growls. When those warnings are ignored, the conflict erupts with an impact force of around 3,000 pounds. This is not simply a contest of muscle, but nature's way of defining power. Every lunge and every collision carries the weight of an order that has existed for thousands of years. For a mother bear protecting the next generation, the survival instinct becomes stronger than ever. It does not need a long chase. Instead, the mother bear uses overwhelming presence to push an intruder away from the safe zone around her young. Remarkable courage becomes its sharpest tool for restoring calm. In the North American forest, the grizzly bear's strength is not only about expanding territory, but also about preserving life for the future. Across open country, herds of elk move in small groups through the valley. Each adult can weigh around 700 pounds, strong enough to make any predator cautious. But for the grizzly bear, strength has never been its only weapon. It does not rush in. The grizzly follows the trail, studies the rhythm of movement, and waits for the terrain to become an advantage. When an elk is pressured near the water's edge, the distance begins to close. This is a familiar hunting pattern for the grizzly, pushing its opponent into a place where speed is limited. The cold river makes each step heavier, while slippery mud turns every change of direction into a risk. The pace of the encounter rises quickly. The grizzly uses its body weight and endurance to maintain pressure, forcing the elk to spend energy with every step backward. A successful elk hunt can provide more than 100,000 calories, enough to sustain the bear for many days. The unused portion is often covered with soil, grass, or fallen branches, both to save it for a return and to reduce scent that may attract others. In nature, survival is not only about taking an opportunity, it is also about keeping that opportunity long enough to endure the harsh days ahead. From late summer in Alaska, the rivers grow thick with salmon returning from the sea. After a journey of more than 1,000 miles, they gather at waterfalls, shallow stretches, and narrow bends, creating a vital feeding season for grizzly bears. This is the period of hyperphagia, when an adult can consume up to around 90 pounds of food per day to build fat for the cold season. At the edge of a waterfall, the bear does not need to chase. It chooses a spot where the current forces salmon upward, keeps its eyes on the water, and seizes the moment with a short, clean, and precise movement. What makes it formidable is not haste, but the way it reads timing, conserves energy, and turns each catch into a survival advantage. As water levels change late in the season, the bear moves down to lower stretches of the river to feed more steadily. The salmon nourish the bear, while the bear's tracks carry nutrients back toward the forest edge, completing a quiet cycle of Alaska. In that world, every salmon's journey upstream is not only a path of reproduction, but also nature's silent way of sustaining life for the entire forest behind it. In the wild, The honey badger is a name that commands caution from many animals. It is not large, yet it stands out for its resilience and a near fearlessness. Whether facing prey or a dangerous predator, it is always willing to close the distance. In this species, strength does not come from size, but from an unyielding will. So what is it that makes the honey badger so remarkable? Across the African grasslands, the lion stands as a symbol of power. An adult male can weigh around 500 pounds, each step carrying the presence of a territorial ruler. That presence alone is often enough to make many animals change direction. But the savanna always has its exceptions. The honey badger is one of them. At only about 30 pounds, far smaller, yet possessing a resolve that makes every approach unpredictable. As the honey badger moves across the grass, the lion begins to close in. In response, the small animal shows no hesitation. It raises the pale fur along its back, releases sharp warning sounds, and surges forward in short bursts, as if determined to claim the initiative from the very first moment. The confrontation stretches longer than expected. The lion soon recognizes that this is not a target worth excessive energy. The honey badger is too persistent, too difficult to subdue, and it carries a defensive scent gland with a sharp, overpowering secretion that disrupts any close approach. In the end, what remains is not a question of absolute strength, but a calculation of what cost is truly worth the exchange. Pythons are large reptiles, known for their muscular bodies and effective camouflage. They do not rely on venom, but hunt through ambush, waiting for the right moment to close in at very short range. With a constriction force of around 7 pounds per square inch, they become formidable predators in dense brush and swamp habitats. But this time, its hiding place has been detected by the honey badger's keen sense of smell. It constantly shifts angles, moving in and pulling back quickly to disrupt the snake's coiling rhythm. Each time the python turns its body, the honey badger finds a new opening, turning the encounter into a contest of reflexes rather than strength. Then the dynamic shifts when a jackal passes by, drawing attention away for a brief moment. The honey badger seizes that opening to ease the pressure, stepping back slightly before re-establishing control. In the end, what remains is not just a feeding opportunity, but a reminder that in the wild, the one who maintains composure longer often gains the advantage. Hyenas represent a different kind of power on the savanna, one built on group dynamics. They rely not only on persistence, but also on jaws capable of generating over 1,000 pounds per square inch of powerful force, enough to make even larger rivals hesitate. Yet when that circle closes around a honey badger, the encounter does not follow the usual pattern of strength in numbers. Under pressure from multiple directions, the honey badger does not retreat. It activates its chemical defense once again, releasing a strong, pungent scent that immediately challenges the safe distance of its opponents. With thick, loose skin and explosive reactions at close range, the small animal quickly becomes a target too costly to keep pressing. In the end, the standoff gradually dissolves into caution. As the hyenas ease their formation and the honey badger quietly moves on, it is as if the savanna has acknowledged another uncrowned ruler continuing its solitary path. Across the savannas and forest edges of Africa, many venomous snakes are regarded as formidable opponents. The puff adder carries a thick body, its camouflage blending almost completely into the dry ground. The cobra stands out with its wide, flared hood, a clear warning signal. They possess potent venom and a reaction speed of about 0.3 seconds, fast enough to make most predators hesitate. Yet for the honey badger, they remain a nutrient-rich target. When it detects its prey, it moves in directly toward the defensive zone, forcing the snake to constantly adjust its angle. Counterstrikes come in rapid bursts, and the target attempts to create distance, sometimes even climbing a tree to escape. Even so, the honey badger continues the pursuit with remarkable persistence, maintaining pressure until the snake is forced back to the ground. What makes this predator especially unique is its partial natural resistance to venom. In some cases, even after being affected during the encounter, the honey badger may simply lie still, as if slipping into a brief sleep. After about 1 to 2 hours, its body can gradually recover, allowing it to rise again, as though the test of survival has only just begun. In the reptile world of swamp regions, the crocodile is an ambush specialist with one of the strongest bite forces in nature, reaching over 3,700 pounds per square inch. That advantage alone is enough to keep most prey away from the water's edge. But the honey badger rarely targets an opponent within its strongest territory. Instead, it focuses on younger crocodiles when they leave the safety of the water to hide in dense vegetation. To engage, the honey badger approaches from the side, avoiding the direction of the jaws and waiting for the right moment when the opponent loses balance. It does not rush in blindly, but uses that brief opening to apply pressure at close range. With a strong bite and remarkable persistence, this small predator quickly turns a moment of vulnerability into an advantage. The outcome of the encounter is not only about a protein-rich food source. What stands out is not just the reward, but how a small body recognizes a rare opening and transforms it into a chance for survival. What makes the honey badger formidable is not its size, but the survival tools shaped through evolution. Each time it moves toward a larger opponent, the balance is no longer a simple matter of weight. In front of it stands a South African oryx with horns nearly 47 inches long and a solid, muscular frame. As the distance closes, the larger animal reacts instantly in defense. But for the honey badger, the first advance is not necessarily a disadvantage. It functions more like a probe, measuring turning speed, reaction direction, and any opening the opponent reveals. Once it understands that rhythm, it may even approach an African elephant weighing around 13,000 pounds. The honey badger does not need to overpower. It only needs to apply enough pressure to make each step of its opponent more cautious. In the wild, few rewards are as small, yet as valuable as honey. It is not only a rare sweetness, but also a concentrated source of energy, gathered by worker bees through countless flights. Because of this, each hive serves as both a fortress and a reserve that few species are willing to approach. But the honey badger is different. With a spatial memory like a living map, it can remember the location of a hive for months and return at exactly the right time. As the air begins to settle, the honey badger moves in. It uses its powerful forelimbs to work through hollow trunks or narrow openings, avoiding a direct approach into the most heavily defended areas. The bees respond immediately. Thousands of stings surround it, yet a skin nearly 1/4 inch thick allows it to maintain the advantage in that critical moment. It moves in just far enough to reach the most energy-rich portion, then pulls back before the pressure becomes too intense. For this reason, the honey badger's success does not come from staying long, but from knowing exactly when to enter and when to leave. In the wild, survival often belongs to those who understand the value of every second and every source of energy. At the end of the dry season, when insects become scarce and honey sources are harder to find, the honey badger is forced to expand its diet to avoid an energy deficit. Out on the savanna, an ostrich egg can become a substantial reward. Each one weighs over 3 pounds and is protected by a thick, durable shell, enough to deter most predators. But for the honey badger, it is not an obstacle, but a problem worth solving with persistence. It does not rely on brute force to break the shell. Instead, it rolls the egg away from the nest, guiding it towards solid rocks or sturdy tree bases, then repeats a series of calculated impacts. Each attempt creates only a small change, but persistence is what makes the difference. For this reason, the honey badger is not only a resilient hunter, but also a highly capable strategist with a sharp mind. In the wild, survival sometimes belongs to the one willing to wait for just one more impact. The encounter comes to a close, yet the pressure of the grizzly bear still lingers. It moves forward like a predator that keeps the entire wilderness on edge. The prey loses its rhythm, while any rival is forced to measure every distance with care. If you want to see more intense moments of survival, please like and subscribe to the channel. In the wild, every encounter leaves behind a lesson in survival.